Let's make some taters. So this video is for my dear friend Miss Gretchen and anybody else that might be interested on how I make my snackable potatoes. First thing we got to do is get in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen. I knew that. Grab your potatoes. I'm going to explain what I do with mine. I've already done this part, so I'm going to show you my trash. You peel your potatoes. Then you're going to soak your potatoes in a water bath. Just get off a little bit of dirt. Get off some of the starch. Now, in this instance, I am using russet potatoes. The only reason why I peel my russet potatoes is because I don't like the texture of the skin. I use a vegetable scrubber to try to get as much dirt off as I can. But to me, russet potatoes have too much of a grit. So you can go ahead and use, I don't peel my yellow potatoes, my white potatoes, my red potatoes. I just scrub the dirt off and cut them up because they're pretty much to the clean extent. Whereas russet potatoes and baking potatoes, you can use either one and do the same method with any of these type of potatoes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them in my water bath, and it's just easier for me. You can do it in a pot, you can do it in a bowl, you can do it anywhere you want to. I just do it easier because I'm kind of short and my sink is lower, so I can do it from my sink. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut them up, and then I'm going to show you what size you would need them to be, bite size, in order for this to work properly. So alright guys, so I've got my pot on the stove, and I wanted to let you guys know and show you. All you need to do is just fill the pot with water just above your potatoes. Now, what I have done is I bought a 10-pound bag of russet potatoes. You do not have to cook the whole thing. I've got in there a little over 5, I would say about 6 pounds of it that I've peeled and put in there. You do not, this works with 1 pound, this works with 3 pounds, this works with 5 pounds, this works with the little new potatoes, so you don't even have to cut it up. I tend to find that if you eat new potatoes without smothered with butter and everything else, they have kind of a bitter taste to them. And I'm starting to appreciate the larger potatoes more. I'm going to give you some facts on potatoes that I have found out over the years. Ooh, let's do this angle. Ooh, much better. No. Better? Heck, I don't know. There's my Ninja Bullet, my coffee maker. And I've got this, my oil that I try not to use. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put salt, and I want to explain this to you. You can use any salt. Let me tell you something. What is bad for your health is not salt. It's the sodium they put in the salt. And if you don't believe me, look it up. It's not the salt. They'll say salt because just about every type of salt has sodium in it. And here is my example I'm going to show you. So this is great value iodized salt. Your body needs iodine. If you do not eat vegetables or greens rich in iodine, your body does need it. Now, it's good for your thyroid. So, the thing with this is, it's going to show you, it says iodized salt, but it's not just salt. Look at the ingredients, and I'm going to show you. This is the Walmart brand. And of course, salt has 0 calories. But I want you to look at what is in this. You see it? It's not going to focus, but I'll tell you. So ingredients are salt, which is the #1 ingredient. Next is dextrose, which I think dextrose, I can't remember what dextrose is. But anyway, it's got dextrose, potassium iodine, which is what you need, potassium bicarbonate, which is a soda, a sodium bicarbonate, which is a soda powder to keep it separated. There is a yellow P-R-U-S-S-I-A-T-E of soda. Yeah. Which sodium bicarbonate, that's your sodium. That's what's harmful to your body. That's what causes you to swell. That's what causes high blood pressure. It's that chemical. What happens is we introduce these chemicals in processed foods and whatever, and I'm trying to get my processed foods out of my life. But I don't want to throw stuff away because I spent money on that, and let's just face it, I'm poor. I struggle paycheck to paycheck. So anything that I have bought in the past, I'm going to use before I replace it. Somebody's drinking. Anyway, I have all my fresh fruits and vegetables. Don't get me wrong. I have these all over my counter. I have pears, apples, oranges, tomatoes, and then my fridge is filled with nothing but fresh fruits and vegetables. And my cabinets. But my point is, potatoes. Let's go ahead and put the salt in, and then I will sit down and we'll talk some more about that. So because this is all I have, I'm going to go ahead and generously put in salt. You guys are probably going, oh my God, look at all the salt. But keep in mind, that is almost 6 pounds of potatoes, okay? Let me grab my spoon. Start out with cold water. My stove is not on. Start out with cold water. Put the salt to the saltiness that you want the taste of your potatoes to be. Because what's going to happen is your potatoes are going to soak up all that salt. Okay, I like mine a little saltier. And again, if you can find a salt, like a natural sea salt or a natural Himalayan salt that does not have the sodium in it, get that instead. I just happen to have this. I wanted to use it up before I went back to my sea salt. Because let's just face it, the prices of everything is going up. Alright, so incorporate that really good. Make sure it is to the... Okay, that's just where I want it. Not over salt it, just under salt it. Because at the end you're going to put seasoning on it. And the type of seasoning you put on it is going to depend on what you season it as now. Now, I will explain why I'm starting this out cold and why I'm putting salt in it now. So let me go ahead and put that on high. You want to bring this to a boil. So you can either walk away and come back in about 4 to 5 minutes, depending on how quick your stove is. My eye does not work. The only level my eye on this side has is high. No matter what temperature I put it on, it goes blood red. So I have to come back and check it. So I'm going to go talk to you in the living room for a little bit and then explain to you what I'm doing. I have to say goodnight to Batson, and she's got her fan going and everything. So I'm back on the couch. My ring light. Alright, so with the potatoes, you can use any kind of potato. You can use any weight of potato. You can, like I said, you could use 3 pounds, you could use 2 pounds, you could use 1 pound. Now, the nutritional value of potatoes is, believe it or not, potatoes have more potassium than bananas do. And a lot of people are afraid to eat too many bananas because of the potassium. They'll get too much potassium. Guess what? Potatoes have more potassium, but nobody's afraid of eating a ton of French fries, right? Because nobody talks about that. The oil's not good for you. The potatoes are good for you. You can have the French fried potatoes, just not cooked in oil. Do it in the air fryer. I'm just saying, that's one good thing about these potatoes. When they're done, I'll show you, they're the perfect snacking size. They're the perfect texture, and you can season them any way you want to. If you use a waxy potato, such as a new potato or a red potato or Yukon Gold, what I mean by waxy is not everybody knows about this. You have mealy potatoes and you have waxy potatoes. Your mealy potatoes are going to be your baking potatoes, your russet potatoes, your Idaho potatoes. Those are your mealy potatoes. Those are the ones that make the best mashed creamy potatoes, twice baked potatoes, that type of thing, because you can scoop out the insides and they become mealy or mush. Whereas a waxy potato has more texture. I prefer, it has more tooth. I prefer a waxy potato, but I can make a russet or a baking potato or an Idaho potato the texture of a waxy potato, and that's what I'm going to do today. Ramsey wants to play. He's trying to give me his toy. Oh my gosh, he hates it when I'm talking on my phone, or rather in the camera. He's got to get attention. You guys know he's got to be an attention hound, literally. But anyway, I'm going to ignore him and see what happens. He may jump up in my lap and come in my face, but we're just going to ignore it. Ooh, fuzzy. Kitty cat fuzzies. I have them everywhere. I apologize for that. They're not in the kitchen, though. Or at least they're not on my stove. I don't think. Anyway, I digress. So the potatoes. So like I said, as long as you make them bite size, the cook time doesn't matter. Start out with cold water. Start out with salt water. You want to do that because if you start out with cold water and you put in the salt at the same time, what's going to happen is when the temperature comes up, that salt is going to penetrate into the potato. Even if you have the little round potatoes that you don't even cut up, I actually recommend cutting them at least in half so that you know you're going to get them, or at least pierce them so you know that it's going to get in there. And what happens is it will soak up the flavor all the way through. If you put the potatoes, and I have to explain something here, if you put the potatoes into boiling water right away and salt it later, the inside of the potatoes, you've ever had those potato salads where the inside of the potato is kind of like has no flavor at all except for just blah, but the outside of the potato is rich in flavor? That's because they didn't salt their water before they started or start out with a cold bath. Now, I have also heard, well, come on. I've also heard people talk about how if you put salt in your water ahead of time, which a lot of the famous cooks don't, they do salt their water, just like with pasta. If you salt your water ahead of time, it's going to make your potatoes mushy. I'm going to prove them wrong. I have been doing this for 2 years. They turn out perfect every time as long as I follow these steps that I'm showing you right now. And that's one of my projects I'm working on. See, you gotta give me the cat toy. Go ahead. Anyway, so you want to start out with cold water. You want to start out with cold salty water, not too salty, because if you want to put seasoning on it, and that's what we're going to do later, we're going to put seasoning on it. Now I have my own mixed spices, but similar to my mixed spices, you can use Lowry's seasoning salt, or if you don't want to salt it anymore and you're trying to watch your sodium, not salt, sodium, if you're trying to watch your sodium, I would recommend using like onion powder, garlic powder, celery seeds. You can use, and this is after you drain them, you can add barbecue sauce, you can add ketchup, you can add, I've got a Thai peanut sauce in there. Unless you're allergic to peanuts, don't use that. That you have to watch because it's got oil in it. So I don't butter them. I don't oil them. I just cook them in a saltwater bath. And then I season them later. Now, what you're going to do is, we're wanting to bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, watch it roll for about a minute or two. If it's a waxy potato, do it for 2 minutes. That means the reds or the Yukon Golds, or the new potatoes, the round little tiny new potatoes. You want to let them boil for 2 minutes, then cut the stove off. Let them sit, get to room temperature. You can also rinse them, and it's okay to rinse them. Number one, you're going to take off the excess salt if you don't want it, but the potato is going to have the salt flavor on the inside, so you don't have to worry about that. They make the perfect potato salad because, you know, usually when you make potato salad, you boil your potatoes, you undercook them, and then you rinse them in cold water to stop the cooking, and then, you know, you season it after that. Well, in this respect, and I'm going to tell you why I do so many potatoes at once. Like I said, you don't have to do this many potatoes. The method works the same regardless. I've done less than that. I've done more than that. With doing the potatoes this way, I can snack on them all day. Did you know that a whole pound of potatoes is only 400 calories? If you ate 2 whole pounds of potatoes, which I don't know many people that do that, but if you eat 2 whole pounds of potatoes at a meal, with whatever condiment you want on it, with whatever seasoning you want on it, you are going to be so full, you're not going to have to worry, and you're eating under 800 calories. That's unheard of. Now you go get a small McDonald's French fry, and guess what? A small McDonald's French fry. Number one, it's not going to fill you up. And number two, you're looking at 200-300 calories or more for a small bag of French fries. And I don't think they do it anymore, but they used to cook it in beef fat, which is not good for you anyway. I think they quit doing that. I think they stopped using what they call saturated fat. That's why the McDonald's French fries don't taste as good as they used to when we were kids. Because when we were kids, they were the bomb. I'm gonna have some of my tea. This is my ginger peach tea. All right. So if you have any comments or have any questions, please ask me in the comments below. I would love to hear what you have to say. I would love to hear if you try this and let me know what you think. Let me know how it turned out for you. Like I said, you don't have to peel them. I just happen to peel these because I don't like the texture of the russet potatoes. Okay, something else I was going to tell you. If you get potatoes that have been sprouted, make sure you cut the sprouts off. They are not good for you. If you get a potato that's green, it does not mean they picked it too soon. Usually, if you see green under the skin of a potato, it's because it's old. Do not eat an old potato. They are so bad for you. They're toxic. Do not keep your potatoes in the refrigerator. I'm trying to remember what it is. It concentrates. Let me go get the word. I don't want to say it incorrectly, so hold on. All right, I am going to put it right here. And then I will also try to leave the information down below. So yeah, so it's acrylamide, and I wasn't sure how to put that. So what happens is it concentrates the sugars, and that converts the starch to sugars, and so when you cook it, it creates a harmful chemical that is not good for your body. So I always kept my potatoes in my refrigerator to slow down the aging process of them, because it does. Any vegetable you put in the fridge slows down the aging process. Unfortunately, it turns tomatoes mealy, but it's great for avocados. If they get to just that ripeness, put them in the fridge. But don't do it with potatoes. Potatoes like cool, dark places. So, and the refrigerator is too cold. So I keep it off in the corner, like beside my refrigerator, on the floor, off to the side. Or if you have a potato bin, put them in there, but keep them at room temperature. Anyway, so you don't want to do that because we're trying to get healthier. We're not trying to make our bodies worse or add to what's going on with them now. But anyway, I can give you all kinds of tips on all this information. You will see down below a link to nutritionalfacts.org by Dr. Greger. He's written some fabulous books. All of his proceeds go to charity. He doesn't keep any profits at all. His website is totally free, and you can do it in the search bar. All of his little video clips and information is, I mean, they're less than 10 minutes. There may be 3 or 4 at the most. A lot of them are really, really, really super short. But if you want to know about any one specific, like the sodium that I just found out about, if you want to know about anything like that, please go check out his website. I do not promote his website. Well, I do promote it because I'm a firm believer. I'm not associated with his website. He doesn't even know I exist. I'm just a big fan who totally believes in what he has to say. Everything that he talks about is fact-checked, scientifically proven. And he said, right now, if you prove to me that meat is the healthiest thing you can put in your body, I will turn around and eat meat the very next day. But until you can prove it to me, without bipartisan studies. This has to be, that's not funded, like when he did these studies on, when he found all the facts and studies on dairy. He made sure these were studies that were not done by the dairy industry or backed by the dairy industry, because they're out to get your money. I'm telling you straight out, they're out to get your money. That's why a lot of these meat companies, and I'm not going to get on a rant because I'm here to talk about potatoes. That's why a lot of these meat companies have started making imitation meat. That's why they're creating meat in a lab, because of all the information that they've come across, all the scientific studies, the global warming, all that information. So, but anyway, so I'm here to tell you. So, Miss Tony, if you're watching, Vera, if you're watching, anybody else that's interested in finding out about, I'm supposed to show you how to do overnight oats, my version of overnight oats. Anybody can do overnight oats. I'm going to do that next, but I'm doing this especially because of Miss Gretchen wanted to know how to do my potatoes because she got to try some the other day. I did them with the red potatoes because I take them as a snack. I would take them as a meal. I'm trying to reset my taste buds. I am trying to, I was starting to feel really bad. My legs were really, y'all know I have leg problems, so my legs were really bothering me really bad last week. So bad to the point where it hurt like it used to 2 years ago because I backslid and ate a lot of processed. I snuck and ate some cheesy stuff, and my body paid for it because I can't do it. I just can't do it. I do not need that. And let me tell you something that might gross you out. So if you don't want to hear this, skip forward about a minute or two. And if you don't believe me, look it up. Those of you who eat milk, dairy, eggs, not eggs, well, eggs are bad too. But if you eat milk or dairy or any dairy products, the FDA approves the dairy industry to allow a certain amount of pus, a percentage of pus to go into their products. Because y'all know, if your titties were being squeezed 80% of your life, you're going to have sores. And guess what happens with those sores? Just saying. All right, now we're back. Sorry about that. I just had to say, I'm just saying, you don't believe me, go look it up. The FDA says it on their website. They will allow it. It's just like somebody had said, no. And I know it's not going to keep you guys from drinking dairy or eating cheese, because cheese was one of the hardest things for me to give up. Right now, it's not so much cheese and dairy because they have vegan versions of that. Mine right now is processed. The #1 processed food in the world right now, well, of all time, is oil. It is so hard for oil. You could eat 2 cups of potatoes for the same amount of calories as 1 tablespoon of oil. And that's what we add to our food. Butter, 1 tablespoon is 110 calories for 1 tablespoon. And y'all know when you make your mashed potatoes or you eat your potatoes and you put on that butter or that flavored oil, you scoop it. You put it in there and don't even think, that's calories you don't have to have because there is flavor. I promise you, give this a try. There is flavor in these potatoes. Let's go check on them. Guys, look, we got boilage. Turn that sucker off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Get it off the stove. I'm going to move it. All right. See, my eye's still red. It's going down. I turned it off. So turn it off. If they are the russet or if you're using that mealy potato like I'm doing right now, immediately, as soon as they start to boil, take them full roll boil. Take them off the stove. Let them sit. Let them get to room temperature. If they are new potatoes, any type of waxy potato. Oops, I'm going to flip you around. Okay, if they are a new potato or any type of waxy potato, and if you're not sure what waxy potatoes are, or if you're not sure what, just Google waxy potatoes and then it'll give you the waxy potato family. But anyway, so if they're waxy potatoes, you do want them to you can leave them on the stove, turn off your eye, but let them sit on the stove, and then the heat will come down gradually. If you're doing a mealy potato, take them off the eye and let them come down to room temperature. So now we have to wait for the rest of this video for them to come down. So I'm done talking. So when we come back, they're going to be ready to check on. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and check the texture and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then I'll tell you why we bring them back. Hopefully it won't steam up the camera. All right, so just trying to grab a bite-sized potato so you guys can see. So not bite-sized. Just set it right here, and you want it, your fork just to pierce it like that, and cut it in half. Now it's the perfect texture. It's not mealy, it's not mushy, otherwise it would have disintegrated, my fork wouldn't have gone through it. Now what's going to happen is the potato's going to reform. It's going to continue cooking, but as it cools down, it's going to reform. I'll explain that in a minute. I had to put it in my mouth. So good. Now, you can eat them this way. They're still a little firm. They're going to continue to cook in their hot water bath. We do not want to boil them. They will turn to mush. So And what's going to happen, the salt is going to soak in there even more. And believe it or not, russet potatoes have like a kind of a sweet taste to them. It's very faint, but you can taste it. Now, what happens is, we don't need this light anymore, we're going to cut it off. What happens is, everything has a chemical makeup. Cooked potatoes, boiled potatoes, have slightly different properties. I'm going to sit down. Slightly different properties than baked potatoes, boiled potatoes. Any way you do it, it has different makeup properties. When you pre-cook your potatoes, let them sit, get room temperature or cold, and then reheat them, it actually creates new nutrients that your body can use. Look it up, nutritionalfacts.org, I'm telling you. Look at his video on potatoes. He explains all that, which is really interesting. Same thing with the sodium. He explains all that too. And I'm about to run out of time. May have to go ahead and download this information and then come back to you. But anyway, so I'm going to try to get my ice yarn haul. 2 boxes, guys. It's an investment. But anyway, so yeah, so that's really fascinating. So now what it's doing now is, come on. Well, come on. He doesn't know. All right, there we go. It's got to get in the shop. There we go, see? So it's going to continue to cook, but it's going to slow cook, and it's going to reform. We want it to get to room temperature. If you don't want to wait and you do like it more firm like that, go ahead and rinse them in cold water. Stop the cooking process. But this is going to, actually you can drain them if you want to, and then just let them come to room temperature that way. It won't hurt them. Having vegetables that have been cooked and you bring them back to room temperature, like you don't want to leave something out that has meat in it or dairy or eggs. You don't want to leave that out, and don't want to get room temperature because of salmonella, E. coli. You don't, none of that. Well, you can get E. coli from vegetables too because of poop. But anyway, salmonella. You don't have the problems that you have with animal products. You can let vegetables come to room temperature. That's why we have gardens. They're used to it. That's why we have, once you start to pick something, it starts to die. So you want to use it, pick it at its peakness and use it as quickly as possible. But in cases like this, like when you get stuff from the grocery stores, and I am going to run out of time. When you get stuff from the grocery stores, we talked about this at lunch today. They pick things so they travel when they're still green. And they ripen, most vegetables will ripen off the vine, like bananas. They pick bananas really green. And then they ripen over time as they oxidize. They ripen over time. And then you want to eat them when they're at the ripest. Now, if you pick something when it's at its peak of ripeness, and those of you who have gardens, you know what I'm talking about. I grew up tending to gardens with my family when I was younger. We had a cow every year that we slaughtered. We had chickens for eggs. We had goats for milk. But anyway, I think I've talked about it in some of my, if you look at some of my retro videos, you can, about my life. And by the way, what I'm going to start doing is, once my retro videos are done playing out, I'm going to start doing getting to know me videos that are current. So, and I'm going to start doing lives as well. So it's Ask Me Anything lives. I'm doing that on my TikTok as well, because my TikTok, I do a daily question. I ask a daily question. Not everybody. I get very few answers. But, I get a couple hundred watchers every now and then that will just watch my video. But this is a chance for you guys to ask me once I start doing the live. Ask me questions. Of course, this is going to be nutrition and craft related, my life. And hopefully, I'm anxious to see what my TikTokers are going to ask me, because that's going to be really interesting, because there is a very interesting audience in TikTok. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and load this, because it doesn't even tell me that I'm filming. Am I filming? Oh, I am. It's just not moving. My time's not moving. Oh, I'm almost out of time. That would be why. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and uplift this, and then I'll come back and show you what we. All right, guys, so this is the results of my potatoes. And you can see by the size of the fork, this is what they are, bite size. This is my perfect potato snack. And you can see that it's fork tender, but it's not falling apart. They're a little bit more firm now, but they are very, very tender, as you can see with the fork. I'll show you over here again. Perfect. They are fork tender, perfect, and they will not fall apart on you. So awesome. I'm going to eat on this one. Now, you can eat them like this, the way they are, just plain with just the salt, or you can add something to it. So here are some of the things that you can add to it. Barbecue sauce, ketchup. If you haven't tried French dressing on it, it is awesome. Or a Catalina, are so good. Or even if you wanted to, that's to avoid the oils. Now, if you don't mind the oils, shake it up and put a little bit of Italian dressing on it. So good. Try it that way. I'm serious. This is vegan beef seasoning that I get at the Village Market in Collegedale. Here is some chicken vegan seasoning. You can put everything bagel on it, but I personally like my own seasoned salt that I put together. It's very similar to Lowry's seasoned salt, but yeah, give it a try. Here's another option back here. Hang on, let me grab this. Here's another option. Try this Asian mix and dip Thai style peanut sauce. Oh my gosh, this is amazing on the potatoes, let me tell you. So if you want to change it up, you know, I have this for a snack. In fact, I'm going another one. I have it for a snack, and I'll show you with my fingers too. See, it's not mushy. I'm squeezing it. It's not mushy. You can have it as a snack. You can have it as a meal. It's good for you. Yeah, just stay away from the processed stuff. Go with the whole foods. Awesome. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down and give me your opinion. Ask me anything. I will be happy to help you. I will be happy to give you any information I have. Go check out nutritionalfacts.org. The link is down below. But anyway, I didn't expect for this to be as long as it was. No. Go on. Go on. Ramsey's wanting some attention. It's getting late. I'm tired. And I need to load this up so you guys can have it. But anyway, Gretchen, I hope this helps in your potato endeavor. And if you guys are interested in healthy snacks like this, let me know. Dabbling with some air fryer stuff right now. Gretchen has encouraged me to try the okra. Yeah, so I'm trying to avoid processed stuff and make my own healthy snacks. Because you know, sometimes it gets kind of boring, the same thing over and over again. So you want to change it up. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to pass these flavors on to you guys in case you want to try something different. And I will say I am diabetic, but since I've gone a whole food plant-based, mostly, I gotta quit cheating. That's the thing. I gotta quit cheating. I'm still losing weight. I mean, you guys can see it. If you look at this video and look at some of my retro videos, you can see a difference in my face alone. And then the people at work can see the difference in my clothes. My clothes are starting to fall off of me. And I've got to change them out. But anyway, that's for another video. That's for another... Yeah. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Thumbs up. I got a 1,500 subscriber giveaway coming up soon for you crafters. And also, I'm going to give away a really nice cookbook as well. Maybe a couple cookbooks in one package. So... be looking forward to that. So if you're interested in nutrition, I can only give you what I know. I'm not an expert. This is not sponsored by anybody. Anything that I do is not sponsored by anybody at the time that I'm doing this. So anyway, all right, so I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.